Welcome to another edition of Reading with Rockfish. It's me, SL Rockfish. So glad I could see you today. Thank you for joining me right here on the SL Rockfish YouTube channel. Reading with Rockfish over here. SL Rockfish up there on the YouTube channel. Thank you to all of you who subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. You have no idea how much fun this is for me. And I just enjoy it. So thank you. If you haven't subscribed, feel free. No pressure. You don't have to. Just stop by, enjoy, maybe share, whatever. Today we're going to be reading a story that we all know and love. The story of Cinderella. You know Cinderella. She goes to the ball. She loses her slipper. You know, we got the fairy godmother. We got the evil stepsisters, evil stepmom. And just like Red Riding Hood, there are different versions. We know the Disney version. We might even know the happy versions we've read in storybooks. But do we know the Brother Grimm story? They got their last name Grimm for a reason, I think. Or maybe the word Grimm came from their writings. I don't know. But we're going to read the Cinderella version from Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. Now, these guys were German. Okay, you can tell by the name. And they seem to have a rather dark look on things. And I was doing a little Google research. And, I know, right, Google research. But I looked for the original story of Cinderella from the Brothers Grimm. And then I also saw that a version of the Cinderella story goes all the way back to the 13th century in Greece. I know! But we're going to take the Brother Grimm, because we all have a connection with the Grimms. You know, they tell the story, there was a movie, there was a television show. And we're going to read the story of Cinderella by the Brothers Grimm. Now, I couldn't print it out because my printer ran out of ink. But then I went, I'll just put it on the iPad. You can't see it because there's no pictures, but I will give commentary. So come on. I'll show you and read it to you. Cinderella by Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. A rich man's wife became sick, and when she felt that her end was drawing near, she called her only daughter to her bedside and said, "Dear child, remain pious and good, and then our dear God will always protect you, and I will look down upon you from heaven to be near you." With this she closed her eyes and died. She died. I never knew how she died. The girl went to her mother's grave every day and wept, and she remained pious and good. When winter came, the snow spread a white cloth over the grave, and when the spring sun had removed it again, the man took himself another wife. He married just like that. Bam! Okay. This wife brought 2 daughters into the house with her. They were beautiful with fair faces, but with evil and darkness in their hearts. Times soon grew very bad for the poor stepchild. "Why should that stupid goose sit in the parlor with us?" they said. "If she wants to eat bread, then she will have to earn it. Out with this kitchen maid." They took her beautiful clothes away from her, dressed her in all old gray smock, and gave her wooden shoes. Ouch, wooden shoes! "Just look at the proud princess. How decked out she is," they shouted, and laughed as they led her into the kitchen. They're mean. There she had to do hard work from morning until evening. Get up before daybreak, carry water, make the fires, cook, and wash. Besides this, the sisters did everything imaginable to hurt her. They made fun of her, scattered peas and lentils into the ashes for her, so that she had to sit and pick them out again. In the evening, when she had worked herself weary, that's a good word for very, very tired, there was no bed for her. Instead, she had to sleep by the hearth in the ashes. That's why she got named that. And because she was always looked dusty and dirty, they called her Cinderella. Cinders are ashes. One day it happened that the father was going to the fair, and he asked his 2 stepdaughters what he should bring back for them. Stop right there. He doesn't notice all this stuff going on? He must be in love. "Beautiful dresses," they said one. "Pearls and jewels," said another. "And you, Cinderella, what would you want?" "Father, break off for me the first twig that brushes against you on your way home." What? Yeah, she just wants a twig. Maybe those ashes have gotten to her head. So he bought beautiful dresses, pearls, and jewels for his 2 stepdaughters. On his way home, as he was riding through a green thicket, a hazel twig brushed against him and knocked off his hat. Then he broke off the twig and took it with him. That's weird. Arriving home, he gave his stepdaughters the things that they had asked for, and he gave Cinderella the twig from the hazel bush. Okay, so he gets the hazel bush. Cinderella thanked him, went to her mother's grave, and planted the branch on it, and wept so much so that her tears fell upon it and watered it. It grew and became a beautiful tree. Oh, Cinderella, she's smart. Cinderella thanked him, went to her mother's grave, and planted the. Oh, sorry. Cinderella went to the tree 3 times every day, and beneath it she wept and prayed. A white bird came to the tree every time, and whenever she expressed a wish, the bird would throw down to her what she had wished for. Why doesn't she wish to get the heck out of there? I don't know. Okay, where should we go? Now it happened that the king proclaimed a festival that was to last 3 days. That's a rager. All the beautiful young girls in the land were invited so that his son could select a bride for himself. It's like a medieval bachelor party. You know, The Bachelor on TV. When the 2 stepsisters heard that they too had been invited, they were in high spirits. I bet they were. They called Cinderella, saying, "Comb our hair for us, brush our shoes, and fasten our buckles. We are going to the festival at the king's castle." Cinderella obeyed, but wept, because she too would have liked to go to the dance with them. She begged her stepmother, "Please, may I go?" "You, Cinderella," she said, "you all covered with your dust and dirt, and you want to go to the festival? You have neither clothes nor shoes, and yet you want to dance." However, because Cinderella kept asking, the stepmother finally said, "Excuse me, I have scattered a bowl of lentils into the ashes for you." She is mean. "If you can pick them out in 2 hours, then you may go with us." Tiny little lentils, big thing of ashes. Can she do it? Let's find out. The girl went through the back door into the garden and called out, "You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all you birds beneath the sky, come and help me to gather. The good ones go in the pot, the bad ones go in your crop." Okay, what does that mean? 2 white pigeons came in through the kitchen window, and then the turtle doves, and finally all the birds beneath the sky came whirring and swarming in and flitted around the ashes. The pigeons nodded their head and began to pick, 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 pick. The other birds also began to pick, 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 pick. Wait a minute. Nobody notices that they got a house full of birds? These stepmoms and sisters are really not the brightest. They gathered all the good grains into the bowl. Hardly 1 hour had passed before they were finished, and they all flew out again. You think you would hear those birds in the house. The house can't be that big. The girl took the bowl to her stepmother and was happy, thinking that now she would be allowed to go to this festival with them. Think again, Cinderella. But the stepmother said, "No, Cinderella, you have no clothes and you do not know how to dance. Everyone would only laugh at you." Well, that's cruel. Apparently, she is not a helicopter stepmom, nor is she a loving stepmom. Cinderella began to cry, and then the stepmother said, "You may go if you are able to pick 2 bowls of lentils out of the ashes for me in 1 hour. Thinking to herself, she will never be able to do that. Oh, don't underestimate Cinderella. The girl went through the back door into the garden and called out, "You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all you birds beneath the sky, come and help me to gather. The good ones go in the pot, the bad ones go in the crop." 2 white pigeons came in through the kitchen window, and then the turtle doves, and finally all the birds beneath the sky came whirring and swarming in and lit around the ashes. The pigeons nodded their heads and began to pick, 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 and the other ones began to pick, pick, pick. They gathered all the good grains into the bowls. Before a half hour passed, they were finished, and they all flew out again. The girl took the bowls to her stepmother and was happy, thinking that now she would be able to go to the festival with them. Now, Cinderella, I don't think she realizes just how mean mom can be, or stepmom. But the stepmother said, "It's no use. You're not coming with us, for you have no clothes and you don't know how to dance. We would be ashamed of you." With this, she turned her back on Cinderella and hurried away with her two proud daughters. How proud can they be if they're that mean? And I gotta ask, where is Dad? He's gotta have a little idea. Come on. Now that no one else was at home, Cinderella went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and cried out, "Shake and quiver, little tree, throw gold and silver down to me." If she can do stuff like that, let's see what happens. Then the bird threw gold and silver dress down to her slippers embroidered with silk and silver. She quickly put on the dress and went to the festival. Wait a minute. No fairy godmother, no pumpkin, no mice as coachman. Brothers Grimm. This original, Disney took a little bit of license. Okay. So the tree and the birds put it together. Perfect. Her stepsisters and her stepmother did not recognize her. They thought that she must be a foreign princess, for she looked so beautiful in the golden dress. They never once thought it was Cinderella, for they thought that she was sitting at home in the dirt looking for the lentils in the ashes. Now, I've heard of cleaning up nice, but come on. In both stories, Disney and this, nobody recognizes their sister? Okay. The prince approached her, took her by the hand, and danced with her. Furthermore, he would dance with no one else. Ooh, you know the stepsisters are going to get mad now. He never let go of her hand, and whenever anyone else came and asked her to dance, he would say, "She is my partner." She danced until evening, and then she wanted to go home. But the prince said, "I will go along and escort you," for he wanted to see to whom the beautiful girl belonged. However, she eluded him, means she got away, jumped into the pigeon coop. What? She went into a pigeon coop all dressed nice? The prince waited until her father came, and then he told him that the unknown girl had jumped into the pigeon coop. The old man thought, could it be Cinderella? He had them bring him an axe and a pick so that he could break the pigeon coop apart. But no one was inside. Wait a minute, she got into the pigeon coop, but she's not there. When they got home, Cinderella was lying in the ashes, dressed in her dirty clothes. A dim little oil lamp was burning in the fireplace. Cinderella had quickly jumped down from the back of the pigeon coop and had run to the hazel tree. There she had taken off her beautiful clothes and laid them on the grave, and the birds took them away. Then she dressed in her gray smock, and she had returned to the ashes in the kitchen. How fast is she? She zipped out. They're tearing apart the pigeon coop. She runs away, takes off her clothes, gets in them down, in the ashes. Well, let's find out what this is. What happens now? Wait. Sorry. The next day, when the festival began anew, remember, it's a 3-day festival, and her parents and stepsisters had gone, Cinderella went to the hazelnut tree and said, "Shake and quiver, little tree, throw down gold and silver to me." Then the bird threw down an even more magnificent dress than on the preceding day. When Cinderella appeared at the festival in this dress, everyone was astonished at how beautiful she was. The prince had waited until she came, then immediately took her by the hand and danced with only her. When others came and asked her to dance with them, he said, "She is my partner." When evening came, she wanted to leave, and the prince followed her again, wanting to see into which house she went. But she ran away from him and into the garden behind the house. A beautiful tall tree stood there, on which hung the most magnificent pears. She climbed as nimbly as a squirrel into the branches, and the prince did not know where she had gone. She waited until her father came, then said to him, "The unknown girl has eluded me, and I believe she has climbed up the pear tree." The father thought, could it be Cinderella? He had an axe brought to him and cut down the tree, but no one was in it. Dad's a little destructive, okay? When they came to the kitchen, Cinderella was lying there in the ashes, as usual, for she had jumped down from the other side of the tree and taken the beautiful dress back to the birds in the hazel tree and had put back her gray smock and went to sleep in the ashes. On the third day, when her parents and sisters had gone away, Cinderella went back again to her mother's grave and said to the tree, "Shake and quiver, little tree, throw gold and silver down to me." Why doesn't she just ask to get out of this house? I don't know. This time the bird threw down to her a dress that was more splendid and magnificent than any she had yet to wear, and the slippers were made of pure gold. When she arrived at the festival in dress, everyone was so astonished that they did not know what to say. The king danced only with her, and whenever anyone else asked her to dance, he would say, "She is my dance partner." Again, 3 days, nobody recognizes her. I don't know, maybe they all need glasses. The next morning, When evening came, Cinderella wanted to leave, and the prince tried to escort her, but she ran away from him so quickly that he could not follow. She's fast, and she's got on gold shoes. The prince, however, had set a trap. He had the entire stairway smeared with pitch. Pitch is something that makes it like sticky and she could slip. When she ran down the stairs, she left her left slipper stuck in the pitch. So pitch, it makes it sticky, And Prince picked it up. It was small and dainty and made of pure gold. Now, it's not a glass slipper, it's a gold slipper. The next morning he went with it to the man and said to him, no one shall be my wife except for the one that fits in this gold shoe here." The two sisters were happy to hear this, for they had pretty feet. They're not pretty people, so how did they have pretty feet? With her mother standing by, the older one took the shoe into her bedroom to try it on. She could not get her big toe in it, for she was too small for her. Then her mother gave her a knife and said, "Cut off your toe." Mom is whacked, okay? Cut off your toe. When you are queen, you will no longer have to go on foot. So mom tells her, cut off her toe. Okay. The girl cut off her toe, forced it into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the prince. He took her on his horse as his bride and rode away with her. However, they had to ride past the grave, and there on the hazel tree sat two pigeons crying out, "Rook-de-goo, rook-de-goo, there's blood in the shoe. The shoe's too tight, the bride is not right." Way to go, birds! Want to hear that again? Rook-de-goo, rook-de-goo, there's blood in the shoe. The shoe is too tight, the bride is not right. Ah, good birds. Then he looked at her foot and saw how the blood was running from it. He turned his horse around and took the false bride home again, saying that she was not the right one and that the other sister should try the shoe on. She went into her room and got her toes in the shoe all right, but her heel was too large. What is she gonna do? Her heel is too large. Then her mother gave her a knife and said, "Cut a piece off your heel. When you are queen, you will no longer have to go on foot." What is wrong with this woman? She's having her daughters cut their feet apart. The girl cut a piece of her heel, forced her foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the prince. He took her on his horse as his bride and rode away with her. When they passed the hazel tree, two pigeons were sitting in it, and they cried out, "Rook-de-goo, rook-de-goo, there's blood in the shoe. The shoe is too tight, the bride is not right." He looked down at her foot and saw the blood was running out of her shoe, and how it had stained her white stocking all red. Okay, you think she'd be crying. Then he turned his horse around again and took the false bride home again. He should stop looking at this house, but I don't think he will. "This is not the right one either," he said. "Don't you have another daughter?" "No," said the man. What? Dad says no? "There is only a deformed little Cinderella from my first wife. She cannot possibly be the bride." Okay, when did she become deformed? "I don't know." "And Dad, what are you doing?" The prince told him to send her to him, but the mother answered, "Oh no, she is much too dirty. She cannot be seen." The prince told him to send her to him, But the mother answered again, "She cannot be seen." But the prince insisted on it, and they had to call Cinderella. She first washed her hands and her face clean, and then went and bowed down before the prince, who gave her the golden shoe. She sat down on the stool, pulled her foot out of the heavy wooden shoe, and put it into the slipper, and it fit perfectly. When she stood up, the prince looked into her face, and he recognized the beautiful girl who had danced with him. He cried out, "She is my bride." Now, how can he recognize her, but the people that lived with her and were at the dance for 3 days didn't? I don't know. When the wedding with the prince was to be held, she is my bride. The stepmother and the 2 stepsisters were horrified and turned pale with anger. The blood drained from their face. Of course, 2 of them were missing blood at the feet. The prince, however, took Cinderella onto his horse and rode away with her. As they passed by the hazel tree, the 2 pigeons cried out, "Rook-de-goo, rook-de-goo, there's no blood in the shoe. The shoe's not too tight. The bride is just right." After that, they had cried this out, they both flew down and lit on Cinderella's shoulders, one on the right and the other on the left, and remained sitting there. When the wedding with the prince was to be held, the two false sisters came, wanting to gain favor with Cinderella and to share her good fortune. Oh, now they love her. Okay. When the bridal couple walked into the church, the older sister walked on their right side and the younger sister walked on their left side. And the pigeons pecked out 1 eye from each of them. Oh, well, that's a dark turn. Afterwards, as they came out of the church, the older one was on the left side and the younger one was on the right side. And then the pigeons pecked out the other eye from each of them. And thus, for their wickedness and falsehood, they were punished with blindness as long as they lived. What? Come on! Are you kidding me? Okay, they're going to live in a bad situation, but now they're blind? They had their eyes pecked out? Brothers Grimm are totally grim. Yay, Cinderella. There were no glass slippers. There were just different slippers on different days, and the final one was made of gold. Evil step-and-mom gets her comeuppance. Evil stepsisters. Whew, Mom's really evil. She made her own kids cut off parts of their feet. Oh, never. And I'm not too happy with Dad because he doesn't recognize his own daughter. Are you kidding me? He didn't recognize her at the party. He didn't recognize her at the house. And then he says she's deformed? Please. Cinderella gets the man, gets the prince, and she will live happily ever after. What happens to the stepsisters? Nobody knows. Okay, sorry, that was a really long story. I'm sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. And remember to be kind to one another. Don't be evil steppin' sisters. See you, everyone. Thank you. Peace.